right now, as we are going to see the faces as well of both of the country's representatives. Argentina on the blue side in the first game's draft, Indonesia on the red, and this hero, Joy, I just want to get this over with instantly. We're not going to see it anymore. The Cambodia-Malaysia match, that's the only time we'll ever see Joy in this tournament.
I think that has to be the case, man. Any team that watched that game needs to understand how absurd this hero is at the current point in time. And I think for now, it just means that any team playing for the first pick will have a bit of an advantage because the second pick will always have to ban out that Joy.
The Joy, I can't believe it, right? We were amazed, actually, at how much the Joy could do. She could tank, she could sustain, she could deal damage, and she is unkillable because she's so mobile. That, I think, is the most important one to highlight here. The most important thing to highlight when you're talking about Joy, because it doesn't really matter how tanky you are. If you're able to dodge everything with those dashes that reset, and if you're able to play with the rhythm properly, that passive, it's almost like it's 100% win guaranteed.
I mean, you also have a lot of crowd control immunity, and if you take a vengeance like Deja did in the first match, that just allows you to take even more damage. And with the nature of the hero, we can see that the sustain is completely absurd. I mean, I was yapping all about it after the first match. Now let's get straight with it. 1-1 and Yves ban away. Indonesia wanting to ensure that there won't be any kite back shenanigans from Argentina. And Argentina wanting to make sure that they don't get slowed down, because that is what Indonesia needs to get their hands onto the Argentinian members.
Argentina so far in their match up against Slovenia, we've only seen them play early game compositions, right? We haven't seen them get taken to that later stage, like you mentioned. So maybe this might be it for Indonesia. They might actually want to prolong the game. Played a bit passively here up against Argentina, who is definitely a threat now for everyone. They are, I believe, the dark horses here. None of the teams in the upper brackets and even in the lower brackets currently can be overlooked, as we are going to see the final ban from Team Indonesia. 1-1, Joy, but Leo Mord, Martis, both still up for grabs. And I think it should be amongst those two, maybe even the Valentina if they want to just throw it out there. But it's actually going to be the Diggy here that's banned out by Indonesia.
The Kaja is still available for both teams to pick up as well. It'll all hinge on the last ban from Argentina and the first pick, because it seems like there's a lot of very good heroes available, and I think that in a way gives Indonesia a bit of an advantage. So now, what they ban will for sure decide what they pick up as well. Are they going to go for the obnoxious early game to enable the rotations and the gameplay, or are they going to go for something a bit more aggressive, and it's going to be an Atlas first pick? Whoa.
It does seem like Argentina have missed their third ban. I'm looking at it right now. Only 2 bans from Team Argentina, so we'll get this sorted out. I don't know if this is a mistake, but we will give you information right as we get it. Diggy was the final ban for Team Indonesia right now, as we are going to see the second pick come off, or the first pick from Indonesia on that red side. With the Atlas pick, Indonesia can just safely pick up the Akai. We know that the Akai has just been a solid counter towards these Atlas compositions. It can also be flexed over to the XP lane in the jungle. But another hero that's open, a signature pick for Taz, the Fanny, and Dreams, who was able to really pop off on the Kaja. He gets a comfort pick as well.
2 comfort picks for the Indonesian side. And we have to talk about Taz on that Fanny.
Man.
This man is an absolute menace. Mechanical skills for days on this Fanny pick. And we've seen a lot of teams respect Bennett against Indonesia. So we'll see if this will come to haunt Argentina later on. They go for that Fredrin. Solid front line, solid crowd control, and quite the dominant, sustainable lane in the off lane. So already a difference in priorities for both these teams. But you can see that the Roamer pick is so important. It sets the tone for the early game, and it's the main tool you rely on when you need to get information, when you need to catch people off guard. And as we talk about utility, Faramis pops up.
Man, this is a team fight composition that we have seen yesterday as well from Argentina. We saw that when Erwin gets his hands on the Atlas, those flashy plays do come through. With the addition of the Faramis to provide utility with that Cult Altar and a bit more sustainability to the team, it's pretty solid. The thing is, though, you gotta take a look at Indonesia's composition here with the Fanny that kind of nullifies that clumped-up style of play that Argentina are looking to go for. Indonesia can definitely now look for more pick-off heroes, more stronger laners in general to find the winning lane, and to maybe snowball from the get-go. We mentioned late game. Maybe Indonesia wants to go for that, but so far in their draft, it feels completely early game. We want to get it rolling from the start. And with the Beatrix pick here, that's another hero with a lot of AoE damage that can really nullify this Cult Altar.
Aside from just the AoE damage, you have to talk about the wave clear. Right now, Kaja, Fanny, Beatrix, that's a lot of wave clear for Argentina to contend with. And we talked about it again and again, as always, but when you want to have good macro game, you need to have good wave clear to establish your lane dominance, your lane pressure. Otherwise, you are stuck watching for those minion waves, and you cannot rotate as efficiently. For Argentina, Pharamids and Fredrin, they're okay, but I don't think so far their composition can even compare to the amount of wave clear that Indonesia has, and I think that is going to be completely abused unless Argentina picks something up for themselves.
Well, we'll have to see how it plays out, Arashi, as we are going to see the Hayabusa get banned out for Indonesia here. They actually opted to go for that, knowing that yesterday Jotun was able to have such an amazing performance, juking Team Slovenia out with that Hayabusa on that quad shadow. But now it's a respect ban towards Sycots, who is also a menace on that Yuzong. Good respect bans coming in from Argentina and Indonesia in the second phase, and you can kind of expect Indonesia now to start narrowing down the jungle. Just keep going down, or maybe just try to take away the heroes that can lock the Fanny down. Because right now, what Argentina are lacking is that single target lockdown that can really stop the Fanny.
And if you look at the options available, not really much. I mean, the Franco could be an option, but Argentina have way too many heroes that would actually make it to the roamer position. And now Brody has also been banned by Indonesia. That's some good crowd control. Usually another option we see is the Moskov, I was about to say, with a knockback, with the stun as well, and the mobility. All solid choices, unless Indonesia can come up with something to deter that completely, although Argentina will ban away that Benedetta as well.
We haven't seen a whole lot of the Paquito here, but it is Sycots' comfort hero back when he was in the MDL. In the MPL, it was banned from him completely. But here he does have a chance to actually pick that up. Go for the Paquito in the XP lane. And for the mid lane, Hijume usually likes to go for just the Lilias, the Yves, that right now has been banned out. So the option for Hijume is most probably the Lilia, the Farsa.
Lilia makes sense, a bit more survivability, a lot of AoE damage in the big fights, and just as we say that, it does get locked in. And now for Argentina, what could it be, man? They need some DPS for sure. And this is the problem. When you're in the current meta, anything can be played in the jungle almost. It can be a utility tank, it can be marksman-ish, it can be assassin-orientated. And considering that they're against Fanny, I think a fighter makes sense. But then they'll be very, very locked in into a front-to-back situation. And Indonesia, the flanks we saw from Sycots have been very, very dangerous. So they go for the Karina, can be used as a tank as well, and they have that Melissa to deter all these dive potential.
There you go. That's the answer we were waiting for, right? Up against a team like Indonesia with the Fanny, with someone that can just dive into that back line, you need someone to be able to cover. And looking at Team Argentina's composition before they picked the Melissa, wait a minute. Brands is hovering over the Roger currently.
Grr.
Grr, yeah, absolutely. But we'll see. Arashi.
No way.
Is this going to be, are they trying to pull off the double retribution strat?
I'll have to say that so many teams have been doing this to the casters. Can you please stop? This is not okay, man. You're giving us a lot of false hope here. And I don't think it's going to be that Roger. Unfortunately, they are hovering on the Lapu Lapu. Yet another dive hero, a good engage, and crowd control. More than anything, crowd control has been so critical in ensuring that your team gets that slight edge, especially when both teams are positioning, are maneuvering so well in that mid to late game.
Zace, he just loves it, man. He loves playing with the casters there, with hover over the Roger.
Zace.
Come on, Zace. Don't give us hope. Pick it up, man. Come on, man. Maybe
Pick
next
it.
time we'll see it.
Do it.
Maybe they're saving it for later. But here, up against Argentina with Karina picked up by Jotun and Civ. I do want to finish what I started earlier, that statement. With the Melissa's go away, that provides easy cover, and she can be quite independent in that gold lane, where usually, again, Team Argentina can play and look towards that XP lane to get that winning lane.
Exactly. I think we need to figure out, well, both teams need to figure out which lane are they attempting to actually get ahead. Because if it's the gold lane, cool. You have a solid mid game and you have solid advantage in the late game. But if you leave that EXP lane untouched, the macro game, the wave gameplay, the 1 and 4 split push strategy can be utilized to its utmost potential. And with Psychots, for example, in the XP lane, going up against Papadog as well, that is something that you do not want happening.
Welcome to the land of Dawn, ladies and gentlemen. Team Indonesia here with Taz starting on the purple buff and Jotun on that Karina on the orange buff. Let's see here, Taz. One question I do have currently is what emblem is he going to go for? He opts to go for the high and dry. And now you can already see that it's going to be the mystery shop as well from Karina, as Erwin is going to get bursted down by the damage from the Fanny early on. And man,
that is a lot of damage. That is what the high and dry is going to bring to the table. Taz is going to be very aggressively moving around, going for those 1v1s. And unless Argentina has solid control in the lanes, then they can actually, you know, that's how they need to play to get the opportunities to shut down, to collapse onto Taz, who is going over aggressive.
Here though, Jotun is going to have a bit of a rougher time in his jungle as Taz was able to pick up that kill. It is going to be a 1-kill lead early on so far, but that's something that can really get the snowball going for Team Indonesia right now as Dreams just gets out that perfect match. Jotun still is able to get level 4 a bit faster than Taz though, even after suffering that invade early on.
Have to watch that there's no real counter to the engage coming in from Erwin with the Flicker Fatal Links combo. No Purifies, for example, but we'll have to see. Does Indonesia have a strategy in mind, a counter? Maybe through maneuvering to positioning. We have to see later in the mid game, but for now, the Atlas cannot be as aggressive when it comes to these skirmishes. So we'll have to wait until about level 4. And now with the first turtle spawning, you can see action building up near that top side.
Both teams are playing it a bit passive here early on, but wait a minute, a solo kill in the gold lane by Brands, the Indonesian king of marksmen there, as he is able to actually win out up against the damage. Taz, out of nowhere with Dreams, finds the Divine Judgment. Now Taz just going mad with the cables, and that's going to be Hijume who picks up a double kill. Papadog caught in his own jungle. Psychots just does some damage, puts him back, and forces him to recall. 2 minutes in, and it's Indonesia who has a pretty solid lead.
Just like that, 2 kills on the table. That is how fast. That is the X factor we talk about whenever Indonesia is being mentioned. Out of nowhere, these plays will just keep happening, so Argentina need to be on their toes. The composition of Indonesia is all about that pickoff, so they cannot leave their member alone. I think we saw Meteoro use the Cult Altar, but it was just a bit too late, unfortunately, and that cannot happen again, because that is one of the core ways they have to counter Indonesia right now.
3 minutes in, that's a turtle secured for free by Indonesia. Psychots in that XP lane as well, getting a pretty substantial lead with Brands doing the same. So far, all 3 lanes are controlled by Indonesia. And this is a good read as well. Brands knows something is up, knows that Erwin has been missing on the map for quite a long time, so he plays it safe. Meanwhile, Indonesia, Dreams and Hijume, they don't decide to rotate. They decide to just keep that pressure in the mid lane to, again, relieve some of that pressure from the other lanes.
I'm just waiting for the time where Taz will start exploding out of nowhere, because right now it's a ticking time bomb, man. He is farming up, but once he feels that he has the necessary items, he's about to go absolutely wild. And as you say that,
oh my goodness, Taz! There's so much damage. Hijume pops that black shoes to run away from Erwin's possible engage here. As Psychots tries to make his way into that mid lane, just again opening up the map for the rest of his teammates. And that damage is absolutely absurd, man. Meteoro just disappeared. They're trying to do it onto Erwin right now with the Divine Judgment, but Erwin pops that perfect match. Very well timed to get out of the Divine Judgment.
Taz on the Fanny right now, an absolute menace. And I don't think anyone from Argentina can deal with him 1v1. They need to find a way, a team fight, force him into these situations where the high and dry won't really have a lot of impact. He won't be able to actually get those solo kills, but it's easier said than done. As we say that,
Oh man, he used
Whoa,
the Shadow
what?
Stampede. The Cold Ultra HP is gone just like that, but Minioro has the flicker. You can see the kill pressure already from Taz on the Fanny. That's why it's a signature pick, and that's why usually we see it banned out.
the called Ultraman, we talked about how it's only very situationally good against teams with limited amounts of damage, maybe big burst damage, so that the second life can be preserved for, for your team to actually have more impact. But when the called Ultra HP gets taken out like that, it's too dangerous.
Erwin with a perfect match again has to use it defensively. A very different Atlas gameplay for Erwin here today, as Meteoro is going to be chunked low, goes in for Shadow Stampede, Dreams gets targeted down, but it's only the Roamer. A shutdown as Jotun puts Argentina on the board, but it's Taz who picks up a trade up top. Taz now going on to Papa Dog with a cutthroat as well. The flicker ready to save Papa Dog, but it's still a solid trade, 1-for-1 right now.
It's unfortunate Hijumi was the one who actually fell in the engagement. He is the one with 3 kills right there. So it's not ideal. I think he chased a bit too much. But of course, we see again the damage potential coming in from Indonesia. A lot of poke damage. And if you get too low, Taz does not waste any time at all securing that kill, taking you out of the Land of Dawn.
Now it just goes to the discipline game, right? They already have a pretty good lead, 3,000 gold. That's going to be building again. Taz looking for that play, jumps in just to bait out that Cult Ultra, and now it's gone. Meteoro has nowhere to go.
Bro.
A brilliant decision by Taz as well. He didn't get turret aggro, so he just played around the minions, forced Meteoro to pop that Cult Ultra. It's pretty impressive.
Very impressive. And it's just too fast. If you wait for the right moment, you might get taken out before using it, but the Fatal Link is being used, Mirko.
Only to Dreams right now, who is the Roamer, who can soak in a whole lot of damage, and now it comes down to Taz, who's able to rotate down below. Jotun finds a pick, Brands gets taken down. That's going to be a 2v1 situation. A 2-for-1 trade as well, but it is going to be equalized in that mid lane. Psychots, flickers forward, gets the double kill, and makes it a 3-for-2.
That axe accuracy coming in from Psychots. A 3-for-2, not ideal, but I guess at this point, Argentina need to get themselves on the board right here. If they play a bit too safe, they're just waiting for the members of Indonesia to set up for the next play. And as we can see, it can come just like that. Divine Judgments, bravest fighters, and of course, Taz just slice and dice him all the way through in the back line.
The damage, look at that. He went for 2 items early on. It's going to be the Heptaseas and also the Melphic Roar. So he knows that Argentina are going to start to pile up on that physical defense. Going for just physical penetration as early as 7 minutes in the game will basically mean he'll deal true damage.
Not to mention, he is up against essentially 3 heroes that can go tank, so it's a very smart adjustment decision in the item builds. And now with that lead, Indonesia is just pressuring away the members of Argentina from this turtle. They're still able to secure the purple buff, but right now, full control for Indonesia, unless Argentina does something unexpected. Erwin, with that flicker, we've seen him make the plays happen, but can he replicate the same success?
2 ultimates burnt out by Taz.
What?
Go away. Cult Ultra, 2 very crucial ultimates when it comes down to the team fight. And just like that, the engage potential that Argentina had, the pick potential with Erwin, it disappears because of the counter engage that Indonesia can constantly threaten with. Dreams jumps in, finds the Divine Judgment onto Meteoro, knowing he does not have that Cult Ultra. And Brands picks him up like it's nothing. Dreams now opening up the map, going to be targeted down. Dreams going to be taken down by Argentina. A 1-for-1, but it is the mid laner taken down for the Roamer.
Look at the mid lane though, the wave management coming in from the Indonesians. We've talked about this since the drafting phase, and Argentina is absolutely feeling it. Even when they get a kill, it doesn't look like they're getting any control, and look at the aggression.
Papa Dog dove under the tier 1. Taz styling, and Hijime picks up the kill. Papa Dog 0-1 currently. Again, he tried his best early on. He went even in lane against Psychots, but because Taz has had such a good time around the map, just getting kills and getting the snowball rolling, he can start to melt these tanks down. Psychots up top waiting in the bush, jumps in with the bravest fighter, forces the go away before the fight even starts. Erwin is forced to use the perfect match now as Psychots gets caught, but he baits enough of the resources out. One frontliner for another. Erwin for Psychots as Indonesia looks for the re-engage. And Taz is a monster. Jumps in like it's nothing, jumps out like it's nothing.
How is he able to maneuver like in curves on a fanny? Usually we see linear movement with the cables, but this man, he is drifting right now.
It does feel like he's drifting, you know, he's playing those cables in a way where it looks like he is actually going around the walls. But this is his signature pick. This is the reason we usually never see it get left open.
And this man was a mid laner, so now in the jungle position, this man is just flexing all this mechanical skills, the killer instinct as well. And when he is that accurate with the cables, how can you like play as a backliner for Argentina, but Papadog is the one being targeted?
Melted down instantly here by Psychots and Brands. Erwin tried his best to pop that conceal and the perfect match to reach towards his teammate, but Papadog just gets bursted down too fast because, again, of the items. Even Brands with the Hunter Strike in the Melfic Roar, with the POD completed so early on. Man, he can actually just burst that whole team. Yeah, right as I say it, on cue, Brands pops that Renner, gets Meteoro to a quarter of his HP, swaps to the Bennett and clears out the wave easily with the BOD completed. Now, I need to ask you a question, Arashi. Argentina, how do they come back in the game, if it's even still possible?
They need to get a shut down somehow, some way, man. I mean, they have some tools to get a catch, but they need to make the proactive movement. They can't wait for Indonesia to go in like this.
Well, the Cold Ultra's there. Erwin gets baited in by Taj with the cables. Meteoro falls as well as that Psychots who finds the double. Brands completing the Haas Claws will mean that he will no longer need to recall. He can just hit a few minions, go for a few creeps in the jungle, and get back to full HP. Jotun trying his best to look for a play. Toss and Brands with that combo. The snipe from the purple buff and Taz with the cables as Psychos jumps in once again onto the bravest fighter. But it is going to be the go-away pop as well by Argentina. Meteoro backing off. Call Ultra already used. 11 minutes in and 2 base turrets have fallen.
See the discipline coming in from the Indonesians, having so much momentum and yet so patient. Snipe does not connect from Brands, but like I said, now with the Cold Altar, when do you pop it? Is it when Taz comes flying in? Is it when Brands is charging up the Snipe because he can one-shot you as well? It's such a tough situation, especially when all the responsibility is on you to keep your teams alive. Meteoro with a Cold Altar, and we can see that Erwin, he is definitely feeling the pressure. He needs to make a play, but if he tries too hard, if he forces it, this is what will happen. Indonesia can absolutely take over.
12 minutes in. This is, so far today, we have seen longer games than yesterday, right? I think the longest game we saw yesterday was 11 minutes, and today we saw a game go all the way. Dreams, though, looking for the pick, finds it like it's nothing, but it's going to be the Cold Ultra, which is placed down. Taz looking for the plays, waiting for the Cold Ultra HP to be shrink down, to be melted down as he goes in for a re-engage. Getting the base turret, getting back as well, baiting a whole lot of resources for Brands to free hit on that back line. 2 members falling for Argentina. Meteoro and Civ, the 2 damage dealers, are still up, but the Snipes connects onto Civ, and that will mean Civ will have to recall. Taz finally rejoining his team, jumps in onto Jotun, goes in for the cut though, finds Meteoro, and he's looking for a double kill, looking for a triple kill onto Civ now. He does get it in the end, a triple kill for Taz up against Argentina.